Okay, so in this video we're going to learn a new tool for factoring called a T-chart, and we're just going to get really good at using this T-chart so tomorrow we can learn how to factor quadratics. So here's what a T-chart looks like. Notice the T-shape. The number that's on the left is called the product. This is also called the factors. So if it says find the factors or find the product, that number is going to go on the left side of the T-chart. On the right side is going to go on the sum, and remember sum needs add. Okay, so we're going to be finding factors of 8 that add up to 6. Okay, so the first thing you do is list all of the factors of 8. So it's always going to be itself and 1. So 8 times 1 is 8. Also 4 times 2 is 8. And 3 does not go into 8. And that's it. So once you list all the factors of 8, you now need to see which ones will add up to get 6. So if this is a positive and a positive, it's probably the easiest of them all. You just see which ones add to get a 6. So I know 8 plus 1 is a 9, so that does not work. But I do know that 4 plus 2 is 6, so that works. So 4 and 2 are your answers. So you would just say 4 and 2, because those are the factors of 8 that add up to 6. Okay? So let's take a look at some other examples. So I have these two problems, and I've got a rule thing underneath them because we notice that this side is positive and this side is negative. Okay? So when can you multiply to get a positive is the question. So what times a what will give you a positive number? I know that a positive times a positive will give me a positive. And then I also know that a negative times a negative will give me a positive. So when this product side is a positive, you're either going to have two signs that are the same, either both positive or both negative. So when I look at this left side, which is the sum side, when can I add and get a negative? Well, I can't add two positives together and get a negative, okay? So in this case, if you have a positive on the left side and a negative number on the right side, your signs are going to have to be negative, negative, okay? So the signs of the factors must be negative, negative, okay? So when your product is positive and your sum is negative, your signs have to be negative, negative. Okay, so now I'm going to list out the factors of 25. So I know 1 times 25 is 25, and my other two numbers would be 5 times 5. Okay, so notice I have to make both of the signs negative. So I have to make this a negative and this a negative, and this a negative and this a negative. So now I'm going to add them together. So I would do negative 1 plus negative 25 to get negative 26, which does not work. And then I would do negative 5 plus negative 5 to get negative 10, which gave me my sum. So here are my two answers, okay? So my answers would be negative 5 and negative 5. Okay, to check ourselves, I know negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25, but if I add them together, I would get a negative 10. Okay? All right, let's come over to this last one. So again, this is the product. So when can you multiply two numbers and get a negative? I know it's not a positive times a positive, and I know a negative times a negative is a positive. So when that left side is negative, you're going to have one positive factor and one negative factor. So you're going to have a positive and a negative, because that's the only way you can multiply something and get a negative number. This is where you have to kind of guess and check. To see how to get your answer, okay? So first I'm going to list the factors of 18. So I know it's always 1 and 18. 2 is divisible by it, so if you don't know, you could do 18 divided by 2, and 18 divided by 2 is a 9. 3 goes into 18, so 3 times 6, and then that is all the factors that go into that. So you could just keep checking numbers and making sure you're getting whole numbers and not decimals. So now you need to make one positive and one negative. Okay, I need to get a positive 7. So let's see. Those are nowhere near a 7 if I were to add or subtract them. But these two are. So let me guess. So if I make this negative, negative 2 plus 9 is a 7. So hey, that worked. So negative 2 and 9. Let's say you accidentally put this a plus and this a minus. Negative 9 plus 2 is a negative 7. Okay? So that is why it was going to be a negative 2 and a positive 9. So you kind of have to guess and check with your numbers. But again, always check your answer and do negative 2 times 9 will give you a negative 18, and then add them together to get a positive 7. Okay? So again, recap of this, when the left side is positive and this side is negative, you will always have negative, negative. When this side is negative, doesn't matter what this sign is, but when this sign is negative, you're going to have one positive and one negative, and you're going to have to guess and check. Okay? So let's turn on the back and try some examples. So here they're not going to give you the T-chart, they're going to make you write it on your own. So you're going to find the factors of 36 that add to 13. So you're going to go ahead and draw your T-chart. Factor is going to go on that side, and addition is going to go on that side. Okay, so we can kind of predict our signs. Since this is a left side's a positive and that's a positive, I know my answers are going to be positive, positive. So now I'm going to list all the multiples of 36, and there's a lot. So 1 times 36 is a factor. 2 goes into it. Again, if you don't know, you can do 36 divided by 2 to get 18. 3 goes into it. 3 times 12. So again, do 36 divided by 3. 4 should go into it. So 4 times 9. 5 does not go into it, but 6 does. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay? So once you've got a good list of factors, now we're going to try and see which ones will add to get 13. So I know if I do 1 plus 37, or 36, that would give me 37, which is not 13. 2 plus 18 is 20, so that does not work. 3 plus 12 is 15, does not work. 4 plus 9 is 13, so it works. So 4 and 9 are going to be your answers. Okay. Now, if you can start to see this without doing all that math, and you can just go ahead and jump to this 4 times 9 equals 13. When you add them, feel free and do that, but I'm going to show all my work for those of us that don't really have great multiplication styles. Okay. Next one says find the factors of negative 20 that add to negative 8. So negative 20 is going to go on that side, and negative 8 is going on that side. So now I need to predict my signs. So if this is negative, the only time you can multiply and get a negative is when one is positive and one is negative. So I'm going to have to guess and check on this one. So first I'm going to list all the factors of 20. So 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 3 does not go into 20, 4 times 5 would be 20. Okay, so now that you have all your factors, you need to kind of guess and check and put a minus on one of them to get a negative 8. So I know those numbers are not close to a negative 8 at all, but these two numbers are closer to a negative 8. So let me guess. If I put a negative with that 2, I would have negative 2 plus 10, and that would give me a positive 8. So that's close, but not right. So let me try and put that negative with the 10. So I would do 2 plus a negative 10, which does give me a negative 8. Okay, so 2 and negative 10 are my factors that multiply to give me negative 20, but I can add them to get negative 8. Okay, one more problem. We're going to find the factors of 24 that add to 11. So draw your T-chart. 24 is going to go on the left because it says factor, and then negative 11 goes on the right. So since this is positive and this is negative, that means that my signs are going to be negative, negative, because the only time to multiply and get a positive, but add to get a negative is when your signs are negative, negative. So now we list all the factors out. 1 times 24, 2 times, again, if you don't know, you can do 24 divided by 2, and that should give you 12. 3 times 8. Again, if you don't know, do 24 divided by 3 to give you 8. I know 6 times 4 is 24. 5 does not go into it. And then 6 already went into it because we listed 6 right here. So we're done. So now I need to put negatives on both of them. And then see which ones will add to get me 11. So negative 1 plus negative 24 is negative 25. So that does not work. Negative 2 plus negative 12 is negative 14. So that does not work. Negative 3 plus negative 8 is 8, 9, 10, 11, negative 11. So there's our answer. Okay. So again, you really need to be good at your times tables for these, but if you need to use your calculator to find the factors, that is more than welcome and fine. So that is how we use a thing called the T-chart. So if you get really great at this, factoring quadratics is going to be easy for you. So there is no practice on IXL, but we do have some paper practice for you, and thank you for watching.